Just number 2, shorts, much better today. I don't know if there was just a little bit of anxiety and the first day, a lot of new guys not knowing what to expect, a lot of freshmen and junior college players, but I thought practice was much smoother today, had a much more upbeat, positive tempo to it, and a lot more energy. So like what we came out here and got done. Right now we're just kind of teaching and trying to make sure we're putting everybody in the right position so we can really start making the evaluation in pads.
Attitude today, of course, that you talked about yesterday. It wasn't quite as hot today than it was yesterday, but how did you like the energy and everything?
There's a breeze, there's a breeze blowing. I think that definitely helps. Was it Vince Lombardi that said fatigue makes cowards of us all? You get out here in some of this heat and it'll zap your energy, but it's kind of like the first day of spring practice when we came out and nobody knew what to expect and where do we go and what do we do. It seemed like day 2 was so much smoother and so much more positive and upbeat. It was the same thing today. I thought yesterday you look at the number of freshmen and junior college players and new additions there are to this football team, and yesterday I just think it was probably the newness, but today it seemed to run much smoother than it did yesterday.
Was it the new players that kind of maybe stood out today for you?
Probably just being more comfortable with where to go and what to do. I mean, it wasn't so much in just all the plays that were being made as much as it was just I thought it ran much smoother today with more energy. It's shorts. The attitude has been tremendous, and they're understanding what we want and what the expectations are out here on the practice field. And I think, we've had 2 good days in shorts, and relatively healthy. I mean, Gilliat yesterday had a little collision and bumped up his shoulder, and he'll have to sit for a day or 2. But for the most part, I mean, I think that goes back to what we talked about, them coming back in some shape.
We talked about the new faces in the secondary as far as just the starting roles. A guy like Levander Liggins that has that, has that experience. How important is he as a leader, but on the field and on?
Very much so, and he's young, and that's what makes it hard. Is so many times you lean on your seniors, and we don't have a senior in the back end. You start looking around in that secondary, and there's not a lot of seniors that have played a lot of football for us. But I do think there's some talent back there, and I think that's going to be the challenge for Kim Damron and Rodney Bradford is to get a lot of young guys ready to play, and somebody's going to have to step up and lead. And it's pretty obvious that a guy like Levander Liggins with experience would be the guy to fill that role. I think Levander's been very comfortable. He's worked very hard, and I think he looks really good. I'm excited to watch him continue to develop as long as we can keep him healthy.
Seems like secondary, especially in spring ball, just a little bit more aggressive than maybe in the past. So what's just your overall feelings on just how those guys are progressing?
They're progressing very well, but until we can evaluate those young guys with the lights on, it's very difficult to evaluate them. But I do think we're making progress and we're making strides. There's good and bad when you say we've got almost an entire new secondary, but when you look at our pass defense from a year ago, changes aren't always a bad thing. So I'm excited to watch some of these young guys step up, and they're going to have a great challenge and a great opportunity at the same time.
And you got a guy like Xavier Woods from West Monroe that you've got already running with the number 1s as a true freshman. What's that mean for a guy that young to be running with the 1s?
Well, I think there's definite opportunity. One of the reasons that a guy like that is here is because he wanted the opportunity to play. And when you look at our defense and what we're doing right now, there was a huge hole in there, which you saw, and you bring in a young guy like that with his talent and athleticism and ability. I definitely think he's got a great opportunity, and I'm hoping he makes the most of it. But it's still he's rolling with those 1s right now, but he's still going to have to earn it once we put on pads. But what I've seen so far, I've really been impressed.
Well, staying with the West Monroe guys, you got DJ Banks coming back now, and he's hopefully going to be sliding into a leadership role. I guess, what have you seen from him so far in camp?
Well, I think DJ's had a great camp. He had a great spring. He had a great winter. He's a senior. He's really been leading that group out there. And you've got a guy like Paul Turner and a guy like DJ Banks, both of them from West Monroe. And, I mean, coming over here, I think they're 2 of our more talented wide receivers, but DJ's definitely stepping into a leadership role. He's got a great personality, but you're hearing him start to talk, start to encourage. You're starting to hear him be a little bit more of the vocal leader, because you do have a lot of new guys, especially at that receiver position. When you talk about a young Carlos Henderson and a Trent Taylor and an Eddie Johnson and some of those new guys coming in, and it's nice to have the leadership and the seniority of a guy with that type of experience.
I don't know if you can really talk about it, but I guess, are you guys hopeful that Paul will get to play this season?
We are. There's still a waiver that's out there. I think you never really know what's going to happen with the waiver, but we're certainly hopeful that'll transpire, and we'll get an answer pretty soon, so we can make some decisions as a football team.
Well, if he is able to play, what do you expect from a guy like that?
Well, he's a great athlete, and as I said, they're two of our best. When you look at Paul and DJ, they're two of our best athletes at wide receiver, and I think with Paul's background and with his experience and where he's been, the type of competitor that he is, we're certainly hopeful. But we're going to wait and see. We're not going to put all our eggs in that basket, but at the same time, we're all crossing our fingers and toes that it gets done.
Anything else?
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.